Live from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall on this Tuesday evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. I'm Jonathan Schwab. Great to have you with us for the next half an hour. If you're joining us on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are about 45 minutes away from Lock Haven women's basketball. Make the drive to the Thomas Fieldhouse. It is Lock Haven hosting Bloomsburg. Men's action, LHU and Bloomsburg immediately following that game. But we started off tonight with another popular winter sport. It is wrestling, and we welcome yet again to the show Lock Haven University head wrestling coach Scott Moore. And coach, a very, very busy couple weeks past and future for your team. Well, let's kick it off on the highest possible note. DJ Feldman, this past weekend, your team on the road against Penn and Cornell. And DJ Feldman made the transition down from 141 to 133. And to say he has thrived would probably be an understatement. The reigning now PSAC and EWL Wrestler of the Week, how has he done it?
Well, he's a guy that coming into this season that we were, working on getting him to a weight class where he could be the starter. Obviously at 141, having Ronnie Perry, a top 20 wrestler nationally, we knew that was going to be a tough weight class for him to make, and so we kind of worked through the process. And in December there, we decided, hey, it's time to get you down to weight, and he's been successful ever since the drop. Obviously, winning the first tournament, he competed in the Lock Haven Classic. Going down to F&M, we talked about last week, going 6-1 down there, and so he's just been on a tear, and just a guy who does everything right, works hard, very aggressive, and starting to reap some of those rewards of that commitment, overall commitment to wrestling, and couldn't be more excited about his success this weekend over Penn and Cornell. 2 great victories, major decision, a big win over 17th ranked Mark Gray from Cornell. I got to think that he's going to be moving up in the rankings and putting himself in a good position to, win the EWL title and obviously, get to that national tournament.
You mentioned the win over Mark Gray, and usually when you talk about a kid who's aggressive, you're talking about a kid who can get himself into some high-scoring matches, but what he did to Mark Gray, he shut him out 4-0. How is he combining aggression with responsibility inside the circle?
Well, different matchups have different strategies, and in the Penn match, obviously that was a high-scoring match. Keep the tempo up, try to break him. He just knew he was better and knew he could score the points. When you're wrestling someone in the top 20 who's a national qualifier, it's more about controlled positions, still controlling and controlling the energy and the positions, but in that situation, just staying on top, grinding, sticking to the positions that he's good at. That way he knows he can control the match and he doesn't get into things that he's not comfortable with, and that's, his strong point is riding on top. He's very good position on his feet, and, right when the match started, he defended a really good shot by Gray, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the match, saying this isn't going to be easy. I'm here to beat you, and then, riding him out in the second period, things started to go in his favor, and he just finished the match strong and wrestled like a true warrior.
You didn't have Ronnie Perry or Corey Hazel over the weekend, but what kind of opportunity, when you have a starter down, does that provide for other guys who may not ordinarily get those opportunities?
Yeah, it's always tough going into a weekend against quality opponents at top 10 in Cornell and Penn without 2 of your better guys. But, that's another opportunity. What I tell guys, you can only coach the guys you put on the mat. And Lewis Williams stepping in and wrestling hard, battling up a weight class. And local Central Mountain grad Gavin Caprio stepping in at 184. And, having the opportunity to wrestle the number 1 ranked wrestler in the country, 2-time defending champion Gabe Dean from Cornell. Win or lose, obviously lost, but that's an opportunity and a memory that he's going to be able to tell his buddies for the rest of his life. So, just like every other sport out there, competing, training is a memory, it's an experience, and that's kind of what we preach to our guys, and that's exactly, the type of environment that we competed in this weekend at Cornell and at Penn, and 2 very great facilities of the Palestra and the Friedman Center.
Having said that about the opportunities, the word as of this past weekend that Perry and Hazel expected back this week. If you have one or both back, as I see you shake your head from side to side just a little bit, if you have either one back, how much does your team benefit from that?
Well, looking at the matchups, we're wrestling EWL teams, and that's something that we take pride in, trying to win those dual meets. And first and foremost, Cleveland State, team that's Down a little bit this year, but always dangerous. I mean, you can't take an EWL duel for granted. Beat us the last 2 years. Obviously, having some relationship there with my twin brother being on coaching staff, that's just a must-win duel for us. To be where we're at position-wise, to get back to 500 on the season, to get individual wins, and just to kind of get some momentum going into the big match against Edinburgh on Friday night, which is, they've won 21 straight EWL dual meets. They've been at the top of the EWL for the last 7-8 years. So it's important to us to get those guys in the lineup, to be healthy, to be competitive, and I think we're going to come and we're going to perform this weekend and just see where our guys finish up. But a lot of key matchups in both of those duels, and something that we're excited about is getting those key wins for rankings and also for seedings for the EWL tournament. They're going to be big going into the postseason.
Joined by Lock Haven University head wrestling coach Scott Moore on the LHU Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network at Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. Scott, that's quite a weekend that you put together last weekend in terms of travel. You go down to Penn, you compete at the Palestra, and then you go straight to Cornell and compete on the road there. What was the 24 hours from the start of competition at Penn until you compete at Cornell like for your coaching staff and for your program?
Well, I mean, it's always interesting, and I really think it's a challenging time, but it's also a time where you see your team and your coaching staff bond, and that's something that, we took vans, so to start off the day, Coach Carr, who's in the audience, out there, we take vans from Lock Haven, we go straight into Philadelphia, so we're fighting the traffic, we get to the Palestra, we weigh in, we work out, we wrestle, we work out again, get our guys down the weight, we jump in the vans, and all the the different things going on in Philadelphia this weekend. It takes us a little time to get out of town, and so it's about a 4.5 hour drive up to Ithaca. So we pack back in, we hit the road, we get up to Ithaca, we check in a hotel, we go right over the facility, work out for another hour and a half, get guys down to weight, have a good team meeting, just talk about the Penn match, what to expect in the Cornell duel, just go over some of the stuff as a program that we expect from our guys. And, so that 24-hour period is just, it's fast. It's guys have to respond. They got to make sure their weight's on. They got to stay focused. As a coaching staff, we got to get our guys prepared. We got to make sure, obviously, transport them safely, make sure they got the right foods, make sure they're working out, getting down the weight, assess any injuries, and just get ready to battle. And going into an aggressive environment where you're wrestling the 10th-ranked team in the country, it can't get much better than that.
We'll talk more about that showdown with Cornell when we come back. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Smile for the camera. It is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. For those of you at Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall on this Tuesday evening, we are mighty appreciative that you have chosen to share your Tuesday night with us. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are, I would say, approximately 36 minutes, give or take 30 seconds, from Lock Haven University women's basketball as they host Bloomsburg. Joined by Lock Haven head wrestling coach Scott Moore. And, Coach, I promised we'd talk more about Cornell. Let's talk more about Cornell. Halfway home in that match, you are tied with the number 10 team in the country at 12. What did you do well, including the win by DJ Feldman we already talked about, to get to that juncture even at 12?
Yeah, and I thought our guys came into the match positive. We talked a lot the night before about energy and just expectation and going in there, nothing to lose. And I thought our guys rebounded well from a loss at Penn. And right away, from the draw, from the weigh-ins, our guys just looked sharp, looked excited. Coming out at 197 with a big win, Tristan Sponsel. We started the match at 184, obviously wrestling number one ranked guy in the country. Moved up to 197, Tristan Sponsel with a big win, just overcoming some battles throughout that match, but beating somebody who has beaten him in the past. So overcoming sort of some adversity, find a way to win the match, just set the tone, set the energy for the rest of the guys. Moving into heavyweight, Thomas Haynes, one of our nationally ranked competitors, with a big pin. Anytime an venue is sold out, 1,000 people in there, you get a fall. Obviously, coaching staff, the team, and that's the type of energy that we kind of talked about with our program. Is you got to get up for those big matches. Those are opportunities that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And Thomas Haynes big pin, just kind of set the tone for the match. And, moving through the lineup, Jake Field, obviously on paper he got pinned. He was winning the match all the way up until the last seconds. I mean, he was wrestling well, dominating, very aggressive, wrestling his style. Unfortunately, he got caught on his back at the end. But DJ Feldman coming out with a big upset victory. We talked about that earlier over our 17th-ranked Mark Gray. I think, again, kind of regrouped the team. Guys got excited. Moving up the lineup, obviously with Perry out. I think him in the lineup and Jake Field win that match, we beat the 10th-ranked team in the country. Bottom line, it's not a lot of what-ifs. It's just if he was in the lineup, Jake Field finds a way to win that match, we beat Cornell. But Kyle Shoup coming out for us at 149. Great win, I think 7-2. But just set the tone. Good work on top, and just a lot of scraps after that. A lot of tough matches. At 165, freshman Jared Sechrist continuing his climb, wrestling at a top 20, 25 guy that's just been very good for Cornell. Lost 7-2, but not really indicative of the fight that was put out. A lot of almost takedowns. A lot of questionable calls, but just a lot of fight and a lot of effort, and just the way we competed. It was something as a coach you can just be proud of, and I think from a fan perspective, the guys that were there in person, the alumni, supporters, the loyal Cornell base, got to give them credit for packing the stands. Great environment, but people knew that was a fight. And for Lock Haven to go up there and battle the 10th-ranked team in the country, and I think we gained a lot of respect, and I think the guys on our team gained a lot of confidence.
A lot of times, certain storylines dominate over the course of the year. Early in the year, Perry and Haynes, the headliners, Corey Hazel burst out of the gates. Right now, DJ Feldman kind of taking 133 pounds by storm. You mentioned Tristan Sponseller. How much is the sophomore campaign that he is having kind of sliding under the radar?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. He's been very successful this year. I mean, he won 3 tournaments in a row. I think he's close to 25 wins on the year with maybe 4 losses. He's just been very consistent for us, and just a guy that goes out, gets the job done, doesn't complain, very low maintenance. Has kind of made a name for himself, coming out definitely with the first rankings being ranked in the top 30, but having a very good win percentage and just being competitive. Obviously, a match against Cornell that he won was big for him this year. Even against Penn, wrestling the 17th ranked guy in the country and being right in at 3-2, giving up a takedown at the end. He's going to be a guy, obviously, that we expect to be at the national tournament, but not only that is he's young, so he's an anchor in this team, both in the wrestling room and the classroom, somebody who does everything right. So a lot of respect for him and what he does for our program.
Joined by LHU head wrestling coach Scott Moore on the Lock Haven University Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. Scott, you mentioned Cleveland State and Edinburgh Thursday and Friday coming up. What are you most looking forward to about those 2 duels?
Well, I mean, just the opportunity to compete. Obviously Cleveland State is a team that beat us the last 2 years, so we have to be aggressive. It's a 4-hour bus drive. We get off, we work out, we weigh in, we wrestle, so it's a little bit of adversity as well. But just to be able to compete again and see our guys go out there and lay it all on the line. And then Edinburgh, I mean, that's for us is the big goal of the year. Whether we have all our guys in the lineup or not, there's still a lot of marquee matchups. You're going to have a lot of ranked opponents wrestling each other, 133 being one of them, Corbin Myers versus DJ Feldman. The battle of the young studs, both freshmen, heavyweight, Billy Miller and Thomas Haynes. I just think you're going to get a lot of great matchups, a lot of intensity, and just a lot of opportunities for us to go out, not only upset ranked opponents, but really set the tone for what's going to be a great EWL tournament this season.
Hour 1 for fun with Scott Moore. We asked you about snow and dealing with the winter weather last year. And this week, what is your ideal vacation?
Oh, man. So mine is, obviously we all like to go to the beach and hang out. So I've been down to Hilton Head a few times.
Okay.
Golfing is kind of my, favorite pastime, hanging out with the family, golfing, and just spending time with friends. Vacations are great, but if you don't have your friends and family along, it just doesn't count. So definitely I'm one of those guys that likes to hit the beach, but also golfing and just spending some time with friends and just relaxing and taking in what's always a busy year for us as coaches and just relaxing and really thinking back at everything that we've accomplished and being able to enjoy it for once.
Scott, we are, I believe it is 9 days as of this Tuesday night till we get to see your team compete again. But for now, we wish you great success Thursday at Cleveland State, Friday at Edinburgh. Lock Haven University head wrestling coach Scott Moore, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us again this week.
Thank you very much.
When we come back on the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, we will have as our sidecar Lock Haven University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Welcome back to the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. We are every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30, all the way through March, at Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. And thank you so much to Haywood's for hosting the LHU Coaches Show. And if you are at Haywood's tonight, it is wonderful that you have chosen to join us for the Coaches Show. And if you're not here and you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, first of all, we are about a half an hour from Lock Haven women's basketball, LHU hosting Bloomsburg. Second of all, show up next week. We'll be here again from 7 p.m. until 7:30. Right now, we are thrilled to be joined by Lock Haven University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh. Coach, busy time for your team, is it not?
It is. It definitely is.
So let's start with your final dual meet of the season a week and a half ago at Kutztown. Some individual champions, Rachel Rodriguez, 200 breaststroke, Erin Kazmierczak in the 100 butterfly, and Rachel Purcell in the 500 freestyle. What did those swimmers do really well for you?
It was definitely a meet where early on we dropped a few events early, and it was nice because they did a good job of trying to keep us into the meet. We were a little overmatched when I came to Kutztown, but they did a good job of making sure that we made a meet of it.
Well, and the duels obviously aren't all it's about when it comes to swimming. A lot like wrestling, where the duels matter, but you're also focusing individuals on the PSAC meet and looking ahead to that as well. And the last competitive tune-up before that was the California Invitational this past weekend. What were you really happy about overall from your team at Cal?
I would say the team itself is the thing that I was the most excited about. It was nice to see a complete team cheering on each other, really supporting each other. We had some best times. We had some lifetime best times. We had one swimmer in particular that I definitely want to highlight. Our sophomore transfer, Carly Ray, who didn't swim last year, who she got back to where she was right around in her high school days, and she just missed the PSAC qualifying mark. She needed a 25.89 in the 50 freestyle, and she went a 25.90.
Oh.
So she missed it by 1/100th of a second. But in her heartbreak, the talk was that you have. You just put together an incredible season, but at the same time, like last year at this time, you were looking back and you were saying, "Oh, I remember swimming. That was fun." And she, she's right back into it. And she proved to herself that she can do a great job, and she's been an incredible teammate. We're going to be bringing her along to PSACs for a relay, and she'll do a great job for us.
You've talked every time we've had you on the show this season about the energy of this group. How much have you enjoyed the togetherness this group brings to the forefront?
It's been a season where a lot of the highlights of my day have been going to practice and being around this incredible group of women that represent Lock Haven University. They really bring it on a regular basis. I've really discovered that they're incredible swimmers to be around, but they're also great students. They're great representations of this university, and I'm just overjoyed to be in a position in which I get to guide them along the way and help them become great adults that we send out into the world.
So before we talk about what's to come in the next month, school just started again this week, and I know that we talk about the athletic end of things, but obviously these are students first. You always say student-athletes because even though it would be alphabetically correct, athlete-student sounds a little bit awkward, does it not?
It does, and It definitely, we like the fact that the student comes first. They start, when they start up classes, there's a little bit of excitement and a little anxiety that, hey, we got classes going on. Like, it's been, it's only been a month, but it's been a month. So, they're ready, especially our younger swimmers. They're ready to get it going. They're ready to, hit the books again and, get things progressing there. And they might be a little sick of double practices too, but with that said, they worked really hard over break, and one in which they didn't take a trip to Florida like traditionally, and they brought it to campus, and they did a great job, and they worked hard.
Well, in the past semester, and how'd you feel about how they did academically?
Well, this semester we continuously challenge. Our big goal is that we want to be honored as a College Swim Coaches Association academic All-American team, and that is having a team GPA of 3.0 or higher. And this semester we had a 3.26. So, it was our highest semester in quite a few years. We had 4 students that got a 4.0. Like, we had, whenever we talk constantly about having people be great representations of this university, we have quite a few on our team that really fit that bill.
Joined by Lock Haven University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. So, Joel, you have about a little less than a month until PSACs kick off on February 16th. What's the focus for the swimmers over the next month?
Just getting ready to individualize. Like, we've been talking team. Now is the time where they can really look at their individual goals, and you want to swim a fast 200 backstroke, then at practice we got to swim some fast 200 backstrokes. So as we kind of get going, this will be like the last week of us really doing general practices where we're pushing them, and then we'll start to break off into their individual races. But it should be good. Everybody loves resting down to try to swim fast, so they'll be excited for that too.
Before you go to PSACs, you will have in your program what's called senior practice. For folks not familiar, what is that?
So we do a little bit of a special tradition with our team where before our final meet is our senior practice. And what we really do is, with this program, we like to highlight our athletes in the sense of we talk constantly about not just being a great person on the pool deck. We talk about being a great person in society. Like, I love the idea that Lock Haven University women's swimming sends off some pretty incredible people out into the world. So what we do is on senior day, our girls we have an underclassman that'll write something for a senior. And the thing that I like is I like to stay out of that. And I like them to have their moment. But, whenever it's practice and it's, just us as a family, the thing that I like to put together is, they have a stopwatch game that they play, and then we put together a nice, I'll put together a couple of words for every one of our seniors. And, so it's nice. It's always easy to write because we've had some awesome kids come through our program. And it's nice that, we let senior day be for them, but they get to hear, they've made an effect on my life too. And us adding Coach Chelsea this year was awesome because, they'll get the sentimental from me, and then she lets them have it with the hilarious. So it was really good, and they really enjoy it.
PSACs, as I mentioned, February 16th, they start down in York. What are your expectations going in at 5 swimmers competing in 8 events?
We just want to have people swim fast. I mean, you get to that meet, and the competition is unreal. The PSAC is the second deepest and the second fastest conference in all of Division II. And over the course of the last 4 years, there's been a lot of teams that have transitioned NAIA to Division II. So that really says something special about how fast Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference swimming is. So the thing I'm really excited about is we now have 3 heats of all finals for individual events. So it'll be really nice to, we're looking to get a lot of second swims. We're looking to get a lot of people have some second opportunities to, before, if you get 17th, you're on the outside looking in. and this time you'll get a chance to swim, and you might be able to pop off a lifetime best that way too. So there's just so much to it that we're just looking forward to some fast swimming, looking forward to having them rest up and just represent our team and do it well.
Our One for Fun with Joel Blesh. Now, I know that as a competitive swimmer yourself, you had the opportunity to compete in relay races. In your view, which leg of the relay race is the most enjoyable to swim?
Well, talking free relay where everybody's swimming the same race.
Okay, sure.
Well, there's two spots that are the prime spots. One is leading off because that's a legal split. And if you're trying to get a best time, then if you get a best time, that actually counts. And then, of course, everybody loves the anchor leg. Everybody loves the idea of, people swimming into a race. Race depends on you. You dive in and try to win it for your team. Like that was always the one that I preferred. But every once in a while it was lead off. I would swim the second or third if coach wanted me to, but I wasn't happy about it. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Waukegan University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we wish you great luck in getting the girls prepared for PSACs, and all the best of luck in York, February 16th through the 19th.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That'll do it for this week's edition of the Waukegan University Coaches Show. Thanks to Coach Moore and Coach Blesh. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, coming up next, Waukegan University women's basketball hosting Bloomsburg, the men's game immediately following. For our entire Bear Country Sports Network crew, I'm Jonathan Schwab, and this has been the Waukegan University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network.